What is up? This is Metal Nate and
Duncan Destroyer.
And we are here with
Liam from the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Hell yes. And you guys played a blistering set today at what time? 11?
11:10. We're the Breakfast Club.
Have you guys been getting unlucky or?
I don't know if it's unlucky, but yeah, we've been playing some pretty early sets. We've been playing like in the top like 2 or 3 bands almost every day for the last couple weeks, and you know, but it's we've kind of had this power hour thing going with us and ETID and Bring Me the Horizon, so some arrangement of the 3 of us usually end up opening the show. So it's not, you know, like I said, it's power hour. It's okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, the rest of my day to kind of hang out and keep my life together.
And check out other bands and.
Yeah, no, I mean it's hard. I mean, there's a couple bands that I've been checking, like Closure Moscow. Like that band really tears it up. I really wanted to catch this Reverend Peyton's big band today, but I didn't catch that. There's a couple other things, you know.
Okay. And your most recent release was Option Paralysis, but that was under Party Master Inc.
It's kind of like it's
like a pseudo label.
It's kind of like a pseudo label, I guess. It's like an imprint idea where, you know, in this day and age, we don't really know where, you know, record labels and things like that are going, and we don't really know what labels will be putting things out on in the future. This Season of Mist record, it's a 1-record deal, so we're not sure who's going to distribute the next record. It could be Seasons, it could be somebody else completely. So no matter what other label we're working with on distribution and things like that, we kind of want Party Smasher to always be there as sort of the like Dillinger seal of approval, or you know, and anything else we may or may not do, you know, will probably come under that umbrella. So it's a way to keep like some consistency, you know, between the Dillinger releases, and if it evolves into something else eventually, great, you know, but we're not trying to, you know, all of a sudden turn into like entrepreneurs and sign young bands or anything.
You don't want to start your own label.
It's not necessarily a label so much as it's just like a brand name.
Okay, fair enough. So on Option Paralysis, you guys, honestly, that's probably one of the most like well-received albums in the last year. Like, yeah. I think in the genre. So what do you attribute like your continuing? It's gonna sound wrong. They're continuing awesomeness, but you're continuing. I guess they're continuing well reception from.
I mean,
everyone.
Maybe it sounds corny, but I hope that like the fact that we're like really and truly doing it from like a genuine place, you know, like it really comes from our heart. We'll bleed for it, and hopefully people who want real music and, you know, will appreciate that. And I don't know, I mean, I think the other thing too is like, for better or for worse, we've had a lot of lineup changes, and with every lineup change, it really, instead of like just kind of replacing somebody who was there before, we've really tried to make sure that we're like pushing it, you know, and make sure that the like whoever steps in really steps up, and that's kind of always been the case. So this last record, it was like, it just kind of fell out of us. It was really like the most creatively fluid thing I think the band has ever done.
And how do you write music in your I mean, your genre is such a frenetic, I want to say, combination of styles. How do you keep it together live? How do you write music like that? I
mean, it's kind of, it makes it easier because we're all like, you know, there's never really any of us who are like, oh, we need this beat down part here. It's all like very like, it's kind of modern fusion or something. So we all just kind of come up with something, and you know, once we have that going and it feels like, I don't know, once it feels like we could play it live and that it makes us feel something, then we just keep working it. But, you know, in the process, it's kind of like any other band. It's really like, you know, Ben and Billy get together most of the time. I'm kind of like third in the chain. Once they kind of like get something started, I'll drive up from Philly and hang out for a couple days and, you know, do that a couple times a week until it all of a sudden just starts to pile up.
Okay.
You know, and sometimes they start as drum ideas, sometimes they start as guitar ideas, sometimes they start as guitar or drum ideas on a, you know, music program like Reason or Cubase or something. It's, you know, sometimes we'll write some kind of like sequencer pattern and then just learn it, you know, try to make it sound human and robotic, I guess.
You definitely achieved that.
Yeah.
What would you say would be some of your biggest influences?
Biggest influences. Musically, I would say You know, kind of obvious stuff, Metallica, Slayer. You know, I think like bands like Queen and Zeppelin and Faith No More were really cool because they never really like stuck to a formula. You know, on like, you know, you'd have like 10 Years Gone next to Down by the Seaside, or Bohemian Rhapsody next to like Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon. These really like, you know, Woodpecker from Mars, or like Surprise You're Dead next to Underwater Love. All these really like not quite the same kind of song on the same record, and I always thought that was cool. Cynic, Radiohead. You know, I really like Jaco Pastorius as a bass player. You know, and then like, I mean, there's so many other things though. Like, I like the photography of Joel Peter Witkin. I like, you know, I like reading Yogananda. I like, you know, I don't know. The influences come from everywhere. It's, you know, life experiences. Places I've been have had as much of an influence as, you know, any people or book or album, you know.
And speaking of places you've been on tour, what would you say has been the best place to play for you guys?
I think overall Australia seems to like blow us away the most.
Second person to say that.
Yeah, it's just like those fans just really, I feel like they really appreciate when you go that far to get there. It's like, it's no easy task, and it really sucks life out of you when you're flying like 36 hours in a week. You know, I think there was, when we went to Australia, we were flying almost every day, and then, you know, flying to get there and all this. It was like,
in the night.
Yeah, it was like I flew something like 90 hours in like, you know, a week, and I was just like, just demolished, you know. But at the same time, like, that place is worth it, and those people are just like really nice, and the shows are always like real. Like, every person in there is like, you know, just feeling it. And I mean, for a band like us too, we charted at like 43 there. So ironically enough, and that's like practically top 40. So a band that sounds like us, we could never do that here. You know, nobody here cares, and those people, like, it's not like they're dated either. It's not like they're just like behind the times. They just like give a shit about culture in a way that America's like missing.
Yeah, very true. And as for tour plans after Warped, what's in the
we take 6 weeks off. All of us are kind of doing our own personal things, and then in October and the first couple weeks of November we'd go to Europe and you know, bang out some pretty cool places. We're doing like Slovenia, Russia, Israel, Greece. You know, so those are some you know, we've never hit Israel or Greece, so that's going to be pretty intense. And then we take a little bit more time off for like holidays, and then hit it hard again like early next year. Sorry.
That's so metal.
So I was working its way up the whole time I was talking.
It's okay.
I apologize to your listeners at home.
You're warming up for your...
I'm not sick. You're all gonna be fine.
And any details of these tours? Like who are you gonna be touring with?
Europe is Cancer Bats are doing mainland.
Wow.
In the UK, I'm not sure what slot, but this band Rollo Tomasi is playing. And then, yeah, we're just kind of juggling around some other bands. You know, some of the bands that we want to take aren't available. Some of the bands that we want to take we can't afford. Some of the bands we want to take, you know, don't want to go. So, I don't know. We're still working out the, like, some of the logistics, but...
I mean, it's pretty great that you're hitting all these like places that you've never been to.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's when you have all these kids, like, it's not the first time that kids from like Jerusalem or Tel Aviv have come to see us. You know, they'll like go to Prague and be like, this is as close as you come. And like, that's pretty rad. So for once we can finally like take it to them and be like, all right, now bring your friends. Yeah, and I mean, it's really one of the first times it felt like it was worth going, you know, not to say that, but like, it's affordable, it makes sense, it's gonna fit into the tour, you know, it doesn't always work out the way you want it to, and for like 10 years we've been talking about going, so for it to finally like come to fruition is pretty cool, you know, it makes us still feel like we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite track off of the new album? Anything that sort of speaks to you that was like your baby or something?
It's weird. I mean, I think all of us were really surprised about how Roomful of Eyes came out. Like that one was just kind of like, oh yeah, we wrote another one. Okay, cool, learn it. Okay, cool, we'll just go record it. And then once it was recorded, it was like, oh, why did we like that was almost like the runt of the litter when we first started, and that one turned out to just kind of be a monster. And then the other one that had a similar thing was I Wouldn't If You Didn't. Like that one just, once we got Mike Garson in there playing piano on it, it was just like, oh, okay, now this thing is really like opened up into something completely different. And like I think personally, or from like a bass player point of view, I Wouldn't If You Didn't is my favorite, but as an overall kind of blindsided favorite track, I might say Roomful of Eyes. Or at least, and the other thing about Roomful of Eyes is that song slays live. I'm really enjoy playing that one.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.